open source with Kunal Kushawa. And let me share my screen right now and let's get to it. Okay, some technical difficulties for a second, but welcome everyone for this Go Up webinar about stepping into open source with Kunal Kushawa. A little bit about Kunal's background. He will give you a more in-depth intro about himself, but Kunal is the founder for Code for Cause, has a lot of followers, has a big community following him. He's also a Kubernetes 1.22R team member and a GitHub campus expert. On top of that, he is a CNCF ambassador and much more, such as Major League Hacking coach and Google Summer of Code mentor. This webinar will be hosted in partnership with GoUp and Metabob. GoUp is an open source focused community which connects technical people from all over the world to learn, connect, grow, and go up together. In turn, Metabob is the only static code analysis tool that reviews Python code for hidden errors and performance sinks. The tool saves developers more than 50% time from their debugging time, and the tool is free for individual users. So if you want to save time, try out Metabob, and I will drop the link in chat during this webinar when I'll pass the mic to Kunal. So bear with me there for a second. Okay, so let's quickly go over the agenda of this session. First of all, the quote of this session is that in open source, you have the right to control your destiny, which is definitely true. So we'll start with this little kickoff, a little bit of introduction, a little bit of chit chat through the chat, because there's so many people, we can't give rights for everyone to speak when they want to. It would get way too hectic. So we apologize for that. After this short 10 minutes, you have to listen to me, probably the most untechnical person of this webinar, and I'll tell more about myself in a second. I'll hand the mic to Kunal, who will give you guys a presentation about open source. After the presentation, we'll take a short break, and that break will give you some time to prepare some really thoughtful questions for Kunal. And after coming back from the break, naturally we'll answer those questions and create discussion based on the topic today. And to end the webinar, we'll wrap up and give you guys a chance to connect and contact the speaker. So that's our agenda for today. A little bit about Chapter 4. So the whole Chapter 4 will be hosted in collaboration with GoUp and our new partner, Metabob. And Metabob, as I told you, is the fast, easy, and visual way of debugging code. And there's the link if you guys want to go check it out. It only works for Python code right now, perfect for junior developers and students, for example. So this webinar will be hosted by me. My name is Axel. I'm originally from Finland. I'm a huge sports enthusiast. I do a lot of digital marketing for my work, and I am a community manager here at GoUp. So that's a very short introduction of myself. A little bit of more depth to myself is that I've been in the United States for 4.5 years now. I work in the Silicon Valley-based startup Metabob, who is our partner. So they provided me to host these webinars, and I'm really grateful for this opportunity to connect with all of you guys. And what I do outside of work is that I'm interested in every kind of technologies, but I really love technologies that enhance employee productivity because they can really save money for organizations and provide value in time and money. Apart from that, I spend my days kind of playing basketball and soccer with my friends, hanging out, and always trying to catch nice sunsets and views. All right, so there's a poll. Sako, can you launch the poll for us? Is it working okay?
Sure, 1 second, and we are good.
And in the poll, these are the answers. I see some answers coming on already. Let's spend like a minute here, maybe a minute and 10 seconds to kind of understand the experience with open source for you guys.
I love this poll system. I haven't done this before, but it's very nice.
Yeah, this gives a nice understanding of
Yeah,
what kind of
before the session doing a poll is very smart. That's nice.
Yeah. All right, that's cool. And hey guys, I just want to say this, that we're also trying to keep this webinar as casual and relaxed as possible. So if I speak California style and kind of relaxed, don't be surprised. That's my style, and we want to make this fun. It's Saturday after all. Some of you guys are almost going to sleep, maybe doing something else after this. I just woke up, so working across time zones here is cool, and bear with us with our relaxed and fun way of doing these webinars. All right, I see a good amount of answers already. Thank you guys so much, and let's end the poll right now. So as we can see, there's a lot of people who are not experienced with open source right now, which is perfect. It gives Kunal also a little bit of direction on how he speaks to you guys. This is a perfect place for you guys who are not experienced with open poll, because this webinar is literally about stepping into open source, or I mean open source, not open poll, stepping into open source. So it'll suit you guys perfectly. And then we have some more experienced folks as well. And of course, some that are somewhat experienced. I know some people are probably way too humble about their experience as well. So there might be more experienced people than what the poll shows, but this gives us a nice understanding of your background in open source. Thank you guys. All right, then a little bit about our audience. We wanted to know where people are coming from. That's why we asked that in the Google form. As you can see, our location chart looks like a rainbow. We have a lot of people from different cities in India. And we also have people, of course, from Azerbaijan, but mostly India and different cities. And it's a beautiful, beautiful chart because so many colors represent so many different locations. And this just speaks how many different kind of audiences we are able to reach with different kind of speakers, such as Kunal today, and a little bit about the roles that we have joining today. So as we expected, most of our participants today are students, 86%, but then we also have some other roles such as interns. Congratulations for every intern on landing an internship for this summer. And we also have web developers and software developers to join us. So once again, thank you everyone for joining us with all different kind of backgrounds from different kind of locations. We are super excited to have you here. So a little bit about the code of conduct for this webinar. So we are here to learn, benefit, and contribute to community. So keep that in mind whenever you take actions in this webinar. There is no marketing allowed in this webinar, or selling or competing. And thirdly, there must be equality despite the roles and backgrounds of everyone, because in this community, it doesn't matter if you're a CTO of Google or you're just stepping into open source. We treat everyone the same way, and that's how we want to keep our community in the future as well. All right, so right now I'll pass the mic to Kunal. Before doing that, however, I want to inform you that we are doing many webinars in this chapter, and our second session, this is the first session, our second session will be tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll talk a little bit of a deeper technical topic when we cover LDA topic modeling, which is an AI model and techniques. And we have a guest speaker, Ben Reeves, who is a very experienced person in the AI space, has worked for companies like Oracle, Panasonic, and Toyota, and is currently a director of AI at a Silicon Valley-based startup, Metabop. So next, I'll pass the mic to Kunal. Thank you, guys. And Kunal, you should be able to share your screen now.
Cool. Yeah. First of all, thanks for joining, everyone, and thanks for the introduction, Axel, as well. Let me just share my screen.
Let's before starting there, let's take a photo with the big friends here. Good.
Sure.
Yeah. Open your camera and take photo for the.
Yep.
Please don't be shy and open your camera for taking photo.
Let's see how many we can fit, but
yeah,
I think
still
more
waiting.
faces.
Yeah,
it's it's like driving a big truck, like, you know, like it takes time and
Yeah.
it's amazing. And I think
Yeah.
at least we have you guys smiling, ready. I see more people coming, so we can wait a couple more seconds. I know it's hard
Yeah.
to keep smiling, but let's give
Cool.
some time.
Cool.
Yeah, let's do one more and the
Yeah.
last shot, guys. You don't want to miss. Awesome. I think we can
All
move
right.
on. Awesome, guys. Amazing. And it's informal, just in case, even so it's recording, just feel free, relax, and Kunal, floor is yours.
Yeah, can you see the screen, the first community one?
Yep.
Cool. So yeah, welcome everyone. First of all, thanks a lot for joining. I know it's like almost 11 p.m. So really appreciate you all joining. Before we get started, please make sure you check out GoUp and also join their Slack channel so that you can stay connected with the amazing, community and the work that they're doing to help us, people get started with open source. So you can stay connected via Slack. A little bit about this session. I would love if this session is more like interactive, because all of this information you can also find on like, the YouTube videos and like all the other, so many channels, so many like, websites and stuff. I believe the most important part would be like to get your doubts resolved live. And if they are not resolved live, then you can join the Slack channel and ask them later on as well. So yeah, quickly like about the session. So we're going to talk about like what is open source, like free and open source community. Just one second. How do I? Okay, yeah. So this is a quote we really like. Also the quote of this session: "In real open source, you have the right to control your own destiny," which is very, very true. My college does not have. I'm still a student, by the way. I'm in my junior year right now, and my college does not really have that much amount of like exposure and opportunities. So I had to like go outside my college to find opportunities, find internships and like job opportunities and stuff. Open source helped me a lot in that. I know students have this problem, like I'm in my freshman year, where do I get internships? I don't really have any experiences, or what do I put on my resume? I don't have anything to put on my resume. Open source can help you with that as well, because you'll be working on a really nice project. Let's talk about that a little bit. What do we mean by, like, before we starting, like why open source and how open source? Let's imagine like what is the criteria for open source, right? How do we know that a project is open source or not? Does it really mean free? Well, no. Open source does not really mean like the project is free to use or anything. It totally depends on like the licenses of that particular project. It might be like free to access and like modify. It's an inclusive community, like open as in for like anyone from everywhere, and open for like reuse. But one example I can give you is like, like Android is an open source operating system, but like it's being used by so many other companies, like, Samsung, OnePlus, so many companies use it. And they modify it according to their own needs, and then they use it. So it totally like depends on the licenses. And free does not mean like it's free to use. I mean, sometimes like Red Hat is like a billion-dollar company, and they have most of their projects like as open source. So company are like earning from open source as well. And open source is a great way for like companies to it's like there's a community aspect to it as well. And they follow like sometimes the software as a service model. So they have their, even though the source code is open, but they still like get some revenue out of it. So yeah, I mean, the most important part when we're talking about like why we embrace open source, so like quality and reliability, the security and stability, adaptability and customization, the freedom and flexibility regarding the product, and the one of the most important one is the cooperation and the community aspect of things. So for example, if you're using something and you want to request a new feature, so like you can open an issue or like either work on that particular issue yourself. Now, I'm not saying that that will definitely be implemented because maintainers are busy and they're busy people, but definitely there's an option, like you can definitely propose changes and make your own suggestions. It's a few examples of like open source software. Let's talk about more about like the development model. So there are like few project maintainers. Project maintainers are people who like maintain that code base. They and volunteers are like us, people who are contributing to the project. So whenever we make like a code submission, they will review our code. They will suggest changes or like request changes and help us sometimes. And once the code looks good and everything looks good, they will merge that into the main project so that it will be used by many other people as well. Cool. Let's talk a bit more about like why contributing is important. I'm going to be talking about like from a student's point of view. So from a student point of view, you get like real world software development experience from the comfort of your home. Right, you get the community bonding. You get the exposure of working on a really large scale project. You get to test your skills, and you get the satisfaction, right, that the code you're writing is being used by people around the world. One thing that people, especially students, get stuck in is called the tutorial hell. What it means is that so what it means is that they're like, let me first complete this tutorial and then I'll contribute. Let me first complete this tutorial, then I'll contribute. So they keep on learning, but they don't really apply their knowledge anywhere. So that is not good. I would recommend learn on the go, because you're learning like web development for the past 6 months and you're not getting anything out of it. You're not getting anything out of it because you're not applying that anywhere. Now, open source is like not mandatory. You can do that in many ways. You can apply your knowledge by either, like making projects, or like going to hackathons, contributing to open source, or what else? Teaching someone, conducting a workshop, so many things. Make sure whatever you're learning, you're applying it somewhere. The satisfaction is also true. Like the projects like I contributed to Facebook's Jest project. During that week, it had like 2 million downloads on NPM when the new feature was released, and I worked on that feature. It was reporting individual test cases during the MLH fellowship. So that was fun. Like the code I'm writing is being used by so many people. Like my GSOC project was mentioned in KubeCon. So that was also good. Like, the project I contributed to is being used by so many people and is getting recognition in one of the largest conferences in the world. So definitely, like, you will get satisfaction of, that your code is actually being used somewhere. How do we actually get started is the main question. So here are the prerequisites. This is mostly specific for like code contributions, but there are non-code contributions as well. I would recommend watching the talk about non-code contributions from KubeCon Europe 2021 by the marketing SIG, like Caslin and Matt and everyone. So that particular session was pretty nice in terms of like how you can make non-code contributions. So this is a misconception people have, like only coders can make open source contributions. No, that is not true. There are many non-code contributions, important contributions as well. Specifically, if you're talking about like code contributions, then like prerequisites are Git. Git is a version control system, a programming language of your choice, and basic to medium knowledge of your tech stack. Now, I say basic to medium because you don't have to be an expert to contribute to open source projects, even large scale projects, because good first issues are there for a reason, right? So you can just start with the beginner friendly issues and learn on the go. All right. So let's talk about how do we choose an organization. There are a few ways in which you can do this. Let me just open up and show you. So summerofcodewithgoogle.com is one of the websites. How do I hide this? Yeah. Okay. So go to this website. This is not just specifically for Google Summer of Code, but it's also a great website to like find open source projects. So click on this organize. Remember, I'm currently explaining how to find organizations, which is the most common question that people have. So please, like, just do focus on this particular part. You can also focus on, you can also look at GitHub. Okay, so in GitHub, you can go into the exploration tab. One second. Explore repositories or something. There's where is it? Explore. Over here, you can go to the repositories or trending repositories, or also you can filter according to your languages. So for example, if you want to find projects related to Python, how simple was that? Isn't it cool? Right? These are some really nice projects. Elastic organization here. If you like JavaScript, for example, say JavaScript. So many JavaScript projects. React Native. Many of my friends contributed to React Native. So many projects are available. Cool. That's one of the steps. Second one can be go to the organizations tab on summerofcodewithgoogle.com. Over here, type whatever language or framework or whatever thing you're comfortable with. You can also filter using this category, right? Like, but I'm going to write Java, for example. This is listing all the organizations that are using Java in their projects. How easy it is to find organizations. Isn't it easy? Pretty easy. you can write Node.js. These are organizations using Node.js. You might be familiar with Postman. Let's write Python. These are all the organizations using Python. Python itself takes part in Google Summer of Code. Okay. Cool. So that was the first step. Go to this website and click on the organizations tab and then select the organization you like. Now, the next step is actually going through each and every one of these organizations in brief only and find and make a list of the organizations that you like. Okay. For example, click on any organization. If I click on this or this, the page is same. So click on this link. This is the second step you need to do. Click on learn more and see projects. After that, you will learn about like what the organization is, the URL. This is the link you have to click, view idea list. Don't worry about all these technologies being used. If you don't know about Rust or like Kubernetes, like big words, and you only know Java and stuff, totally fine. Because this is not like the topics for all the just a single project. These are the topics for individual projects. Okay. And if you find yourself in a place where you don't know much about a project, let's say you found a project in the idea list that uses Kubernetes. That is good because now you will get to learn Kubernetes and you'll also get to contribute. This is the third step. Click on the idea list. Now, these are all the projects that are active in the community. Okay. So this is like the fourth step. Go through all these projects, see which one you like. Okay. Let's click any one of these projects. Let's say Aero Gear, right? So over here, the summary is given. The prerequisites are given here, and what you will be like working with and stuff like that. So knowledge of GraphQL and reactive programming, Python, Golang, Kotlin, Node.js, so on and so forth. The GitHub repository is given. The skill level is also given. Project URL chat is also given, which is the most important thing, which we'll talk about later on. This is like the group discussion thing. And the potential mentors are also given for Google Summer of Code. So this is like the repository, or if I'm talking about any other repository, because, that's just for the sake of it. Let's say I'm talking about Quarkus. Let's say after this, you are at the fourth step, which is you found the repository. Next step is to actually use this particular project, because if you don't know what the project does, then you will find it very difficult to contribute to it. It's again totally fine if you don't know about Quarkus, K8s, and like cloud native tech and all these things. You can learn on the go. But the first thing is use the project. If you face any issues, you will find the mailing list or group chat in the README file or on the project website. So you can see Zulip is something that they're using. They might be using like Slack or like sometimes, like Discord or like some IRC or mailing list or whatever. Join this and ask all your doubts in the public channel. Okay. So that's the next step. Now the next step is actually set up this project on your local systems, like fork it. I've already forked it, but fork it on your own account, clone it, and then try to set it up on your local system. Try to build it on your local system. One tip I can give you for starting with the code base is look at the test cases. So once you look at the test cases, it will give you a good understanding of how the project is working internally. Now, it is a very, very big project. I admit that. So definitely you don't have to understand the entire code base in order to contribute at first. There's a reason these are divided into modules and stuff. So once you just know a basic understanding, don't, deep dive into every single file of this project. That is not really efficient. Next step is go to the issues section, filter according to the label, good first issues, beginner friendly issues, low hanging fruit, whatever it might be. So good first issue, easy issues or something like that. These are all the issues that are new, that are very like easy issues for newcomers. So like, it's not as difficult, as like other issues. Click on any one of these issues, try to see what the issue is about, try to see what they're doing. If this is an error, then try to reproduce the error. Have all the conversation in public, like tag that particular person. And then, like just, hey, how can I get started? Or do you have any resources? Or how would I reproduce this issue? Or I'm interested in contributing. Do you need any help? Or things like that, just get involved. That is the most important part. Again, if you have any issues regarding how to actually solve this issue, or you're not able to understand, the mailing list people will be able to help you the most. That is pretty much about it. There is no shortcut as such. You have to, these are the steps to follow. And if you find yourself in a place where you don't know about a particular technology, well, the only solution, you have to learn about that technology, right? So Google has ample amount of resources for almost every particular technology. So just Google, learn, to watch the tutorials, ask questions, experiment, debug, study, work hard. And if you have any other questions, just go to the mailing list and ask people, ask them for help, and then also not just like learn how to ask good questions. So follow the code of conduct in the mailing list. Don't spam anyone. Ask relevant questions. If something you can find the answer on Google, then it's definitely good to find the answer of Google on Google instead of, spamming the mailing list. So ask relevant questions. It's very important. Don't just say, hey, I'm stuck in this issue. They will not be able to help you with that. Say that, hey, I'm stuck in this issue. I'm trying to achieve this. This is what I tried. It led to this. What would you recommend? So give the entire, nice description of what issue you're facing. Don't just send hi or, I need some help. No, just send what issue you're facing. Then they'll be able to help you quite a lot. That's pretty much about it. You can even start like contributing to like the documentation or some low sample code, low code base, like easier code bases, UI and stuff. And after that, the complexity of the issues will increase once you start contributing more and more. Some people ask that, hey, we are not able to find good first issues. In that case, go to the public channel of the issue of the particular project and tell them, hey, I'm a beginner in this project, really interested in contributing. Can you suggest me some beginner friendly issues I can work on? And they'll be able to suggest you some beginner friendly issues. That is pretty much about it. Yeah, that's how you get started. Let's move back to the presentation. Cool. So 2 approaches for choosing an organization. First one is you either, the top-down approach. First, you learn the skills and then you choose the organization. So you're like, I like Java and, I like something like, let's say I like Golang, and then you choose the organizations like, like CNCF or something. That, okay, CNCF has many projects using Golang, so I will contribute to CNCF. Second one can be you choose the organization at first and then you learn the skills. So you're like, I really admire like, the work this organization does or that organization does. I want to contribute to this organization. And then you actually see what skills are being used in that organization. Now, these 2 approaches go hand in hand. It's not like there's just one of these approaches, because if you're a beginner, then you will find yourself in a place that many technologies are being used that you don't know much about. So have an open mind and be open to learn and be open to experiment. If you only know like 30 to 40% of the things being used in the organization and the project, learn on the go and contribute. That's how I started. I only knew like about Java and a bit of web development and like Maven and build tools and stuff. And I contributed to the Java Kubernetes client. So that's what I meant. Like, it's like I learned on the go about things like Kubernetes and Docker and all these other things. So if you want to see, I can like show you as well. How do I? Yeah. So that is how I also started. Let me just see the very end. My main contribution, you can see, let's say this one, right? Fabricate.io Maven plugin. It's a very big project of Red Hat middleware. My change was only, my contribution was only deleting a file. That's it. That's what I did. I just deleted a file. And you can see they also like, took this in a very good way. Like it wasn't like, hey, this is just a very simple contribution, we won't look at it. No, it was a valid contribution. They wanted this file removed, so I just deleted it. As simple as that. Not even a single code written. But after that, you can see I did some other things like something like, let's say this one, So I tried doing something like this. I renamed the function, small things. This one is again like abstract qualifier removed in sum. So you can see just 2 additions in line, So you can see I also started very small. I just had to remove the abstract keyword. That's it. After that, you can see over here, this one. This is a little bit good contribution, like 90 files, 90 lines of code. This is somewhat nice, as compared to previous one. So this is also nothing much. They had this resource called namespace quota. It's in Kubernetes, and they wanted an example for this. So I just added an example. That's it. You can see it's a Red Hat project. And then I added some test cases, some simple test cases, like that's it. This was also like pretty nice contribution, like pretty simple one, but like testing only. So you can see that's how I started. I started from very, very small, and then go ahead and like started with test cases. Then I also added like, some just to tell you about like my open source journey, right? So adding support for separate resources in Kubernetes. It's like they did not even have support for template instance. So I provided like support for template instance in this particular, project. So just to give you a basic idea about it, like I also started very small, just basic things. And then you do those basic things. And that's how you actually increase the complexity of the issues. And then you become a regular like contributor and stuff. So 3 pillars of any successful integration in an org: be active in the channel and search for projects. We already looked into it. And look for open issues and fix them. We already looked into it. Learn Git. Git is a version control system. Very, very important. It lets you share the code sample changes that you make with everyone around, around the world on GitHub. So yeah, that's pretty much about it. Like, look for issues, fix those, send in a pull request, then look for issues or create new ones. That is also true. So writing code is not the only way to contribute. You can either open new issues. Let's say you want a new feature that is missing, or you found a bug or something like that, and you open an issue for that. That is also a valid contribution. One more valid contribution can be you are reviewing someone else's code. So you're reviewing someone else's pull request. That is also a valid contribution. One more valid contribution can be you're helping others get started. That is also a valid contribution. One more valid contribution is like what, we are doing over here, that this particular session that we are contributing on open source, that is also a valid open source contribution, because we are helping you all, students and everyone else who have joined to actually get started with open source. So that is also a valid contribution for the community. Now, a few things I wish I knew before I started with open source. You don't need to be a pro. You can learn on the go. That rhymed. You don't need to be from a computer science background. You don't even need to have like a college degree or anything. You don't need to understand the entire code base in order to contribute. I also explained this. Interact as much as possible with other developers. Never be rude and always participate in discussions. Do follow the code of conduct. Very, very important. Also, these big projects, they have their regular community meetings. So join those. And even if you don't have anything to, this is the problem that many people face. They're like, hey, why should I join the community meeting when I don't have any inputs to give? Well, just join and listen. Listen to what others are doing. Listen to what others have to say. Spend a month like this, and then you will understand the entire workflow, and then you will be able to get started even more. Now, when starting with a big project, most of your time will be spent in research. So that is true. For example, studying the trends of the various organizations and projects, learning new technologies. This is true. Understanding the code base, definitely true. Takes a lot of time. You will read more code than you write code, and that is totally fine. Don't be overwhelmed or like disheartened. It's totally fine, because you're learning something new. As long as you're learning, it's a win-win situation. That was pretty much about the presentation. If you want to connect with me, you can connect with me on Twitter. The reason I say Twitter is because with open source is much more than coding. A lot of you get to meet a lot of people. You get to attend so many international big largest events as well in the world, and you get to meet some amazing people in the community. You get to grow your network in the community, and Twitter is a great way to do that. So these people are not using LinkedIn. These developers, and most of them are not using LinkedIn, but mostly everyone is using Twitter. Especially the developers. So if you want to connect with them, like also get notified about like the project updates and things like that, or opportunities in open source, internship opportunities, networking with other people. Most of these opportunities and everything I've gotten has been via Twitter only. And people have this misconception like, LinkedIn is the place to be for networking and meeting other developers. No, most of the developers are not even on Twitter. I don't, not even on LinkedIn. I don't even use LinkedIn that much. I just use it to like post stuff about community. Twitter is the happening place where most of the developers you will find in open source. Pick up any other talk, of KubeCon, Linux Foundation events, open source summits. In every talk, the speaker will be like, you can connect with me on Twitter. No one is saying you can connect with me on LinkedIn. So if you want to connect with more nice developers, even in your own open source communities as well, most of them will be using Twitter. That is why I recommend Twitter. Also follow like your own like nice organizations, and that was pretty much about the presentation. Now we'll go ahead with questions, and you can utilize this time more with the just getting your questions answered live. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. Yeah, that's pretty much about it. Thanks a lot for listening.
All righty.
Axel.
Thank you, Kunal. What an amazing presentation. For now, let's take a 5-minute short break, guys, and prepare some really thoughtful questions. We have good time to get questions from you guys. Let's try to do it in a respectful and organized way. There's so many people today on the call that if your question gets overlooked, we apologize for that beforehand. It's very hard to manage almost 300 people asking questions at times, but let's do it this way. Please send me private messages with your questions.
I think Axel, sorry for interaction. I think we should use Git for that as open source guy. I think we should post it there. I think that way, if we miss or lack of time,
just create a GitHub discussion. GitHub discussion.
I think Sako. Yeah, I know we have it. Sako, can you please share the link if you have it
I
open?
posted it. It's I posted in the chat. So
you can also add the Slack link in the comment so that people don't have.
Also, to make this more interactive, though, we will have some window to take live questions. So we will let you guys. We will let you guys talk as well. Please raise your hand. I'll try to go over most of you guys, and let's try to shoot the question and the answer to be less than a minute per live question. Paras, I see your hand up. I understand you're excited. I'm also very excited, but let's take a 5-minute break here. Prepare some questions. I need to grab some water for myself, for example.
You can use mine.
And it will be also great if you could ask like specific questions. So I know someone in the chat just wrote how to find open source organizations. So I literally talked about it in brief and showed in like detail and also showed you a demo. So I don't know what new question you're looking for, right? So please ask specific questions that was not already covered in the presentation.
Yeah, and in like general questions like that one is, just know that this webinar will, for example, if you had technical issues, if you zoned out for a moment, don't worry about it. This webinar will be posted to our YouTube channel afterwards. So you will have Kunal's presentation on your hands and you can always go back to it later. And I have a few questions. I have approximately 5 questions that were sent to me privately already. So we'll go over those questions, but please stop sending me private questions right now, because otherwise my chat will go very, very full and I'll miss them. So thank you guys. I'll try to go through those, but let's take a 5-minute break now and let's get back in 5.
I think the best would be, Axel, to share your screen in the GitHub and people will, I think it will be more cleaner. And in case, will be saved. And again, we can follow up if didn't get enough time.
Okay. So
let's try that.
Yeah, cool. Oh, so just to
share the screen and open the GitHub and
all right, let's do that before break.
Let's do it.
Share. I need to.
Yep.
Sako, you sent the
in chat I put, and I can repost.
Oh,
I reposted the GitHub.
Yeah, I'll just copy it before because I can't open the chat while I'm sharing the screen.
Okay, sounds good.
Bear with me for a second, guys.
Hey, Shivi.
I think we covered most people everything I cannot.
So, okay, guys. So here's the GitHub, and I already see quite a bit of questions here.
Awesome.
Good.
That's the data, guys. You can always go back, and if you forget the answer, you can go and check, and it's public, open source. Amazing.
So let's post all the questions here. I don't take private questions. Let's change that. Let's post everything here. I just made an example, very specific question, but won't post that now. Let's leave space for the technical questions. But this is the platform. Sako sent the link to the chat. Please open it. Go post your questions here, and
and do join the Slack channel as well.
Yes, and also, if your question doesn't get answered for now, because as we see, there's gonna be quite a bit of questions today. I want to encourage you to contact us via Slack and contact the community, especially.
It'd be great if you could. It'd be great if we could in the comment if you could add the agenda.
That's a good point. And I think let me quickly change that one.
Also do share about this, like, on socials as well, like what you learned, take a screenshot or whatever, and, share about it
Yeah.
with your friends as well. So they can also learn about the, great work Go Up is doing. Tag Go Up. You can also tag Go Up on Twitter.
Yeah.
Go Up AZ.
About posting to
yeah.
Twitter, remember to tag Go Up. Remember to tag Kunal. Also
Yep.
tag our partner Metabob, who has made this pleasant experience for us to host this webinar. Helped us a lot.
I will
there.
retweet. I will retweet every single tweet. We love to see, what people share, and
I
don't
love it.
just share like you attended the session. Share like what you learned, what
Yeah.
did you get out of it, and all these other things. That'd be
Yep.
great. Yep.
That would be awesome. And
Don't forget star. I see a lot of star coming, so it will help us to go back and go through your GitHub repos and find something. Usually, what I do when I have free time.
What does AZ represent in Go AZ?
Azerbaijan.
Actually,
Yeah.
the thing was Go. I wanted it was taken, so I added AZ Azerbaijan. But yeah, I think
I see,
because Go IO and all this was taken, so but the community called Go Up itself, yeah.
Okay, guys. A couple minutes here. Let me just give you instructions who to tag, preferably who to tag when you tweet. I'll give you all the Twitter handles right now. I'm just Kunal. What's your Twitter handle actually?
Sent it in the chat.
Okay, Kunal. I actually just tagged you myself, so I should know it, but I tagged too many people. So guys, use these three tags. These are the people who made this thing happen. We're grateful for everyone, especially Kunal, Kushawa. And let's take a short break for now. Let's come back in 6 minutes for questions. I know people are very, very excited to ask a lot of questions from you, Kunal. But let's take a short break and collect our thoughts and make sure that we have very specific and thoughtful questions for Kunal here. Now.
Yes. So I wanted to ask, if we get open source projects, we don't get good first issues and organizations. That I applied one of the issues in free code camp today. They said me that newcomers are not allowed in this organization, and
Okay,
same was
then
with.
yeah, then just don't go there. If they are not inclusive, then don't go there.
Same
Sometimes
was with
it's
Fossacia.
yeah,
The name.
yeah, with Fosacia, it's a bit weird because they are not participating in Google Summer of Code right now because of something that happened over there that I can't speak. Like, I don't know, like they were like participating in Google Summer of Code for a lot of period of time, but then they did not get selected. And then students stop contributing, because this is the reason that students mostly contribute to open source, is because they want to get selected in like Google Summer of Code and stuff. That is not the right mindset. You should contribute to open source irrespective of whether you get selected in Google Summer of Code or not. So if there's a particular project like that, they are just like, hey, we will only take students who are like, if you're only into Google Summer of Code, if you're only into this and that, then you don't have to go there. One of the biggest
So-
organizations in the world, the Cloud Native Computing Foundation, the Kubernetes organization, right? So Kubernetes is one of the largest projects in the world, and it is one of the most inclusive projects. Does not matter what your background is, does not matter if you even know coding or not, they'll be like, yeah, we are ready to help you. So you might find sometimes that if someone is not being inclusive, then that is not a good community spirit and you should not go there.
So this second question is, how can we network and find open source community at Twitter, on Twitter? I
Yeah,
found
on
a lot,
Twitter.
but
Yeah, sure. So like, it's not like you will directly find on Twitter. It's like you will find via like your network and GitHub and events and all these things, and they will direct you to Twitter. That's basically how I do it. So other than that, like following people you admire and people who are active in open source. For example, if you follow me, right, then I tweet a lot about like the cloud native world. So I tweet about all of the cloud native organizations and stuff. If you follow, Shiva is in the chat as well. So Shiva is doing great work in open source as well. So you'll find on his Twitter feed, he'll share about like TensorFlow, machine learning. So from his Twitter feed, you will find something related to like TensorFlow and all these things. I made a video on my channel, Code for Cause. Not a video, many videos related to finding open
yes,
source
yes,
organizations. In that particular video you can watch. But in short, the GitHub part and the Google Summer of Code website, it's very good in order to find issues and organizations to work with. And from there also you can find them like on Twitter and stuff.
yes, I look your every video on YouTube, and that's a part of motivation. And the third question is, what level of contribution is required in GSOC?
If this is GSOC specific, right? That depends on organization to organization. What I would recommend is, don't worry about whether you will get selected or not. Just contribute with the motivation of like learning and all these other things, being an active contributor in the organization. If you do that, they will see their passion and they will like your chances will increase. It's definitely, I would be pretty honest over here. It depends on organization to organization. When the organization is like very active in community and like really participating in Google Summer of Code for the past few years, they mostly care about the community spirit. If there's a new organization, who has just been selected in Google Summer of Code, to be quite frank, they care about selecting the best people, irrespective of like their previous contributions as such. So again, it's like a very tricky thing. I would recommend just contribute to the organization that you like with the motivation of learning, and contribute to an organization which is like active in community. And yeah, that's pretty much about it.
So the last question I wanted to ask is, I found a lot of organizations in JavaScript and React, but I don't overcome the good first issues, and I
Yeah,
research. I
yeah.
researched.
Again, yeah. I understand the thing, and we would have to keep moving forward because there are a lot of people asking questions. There's just one
Yes, okay,
solution for
okay.
this. If you're not understanding a particular code base, then study about it. If you're not understanding a technology, study about it. Ask questions in the mailing list. See, I can't help you with that particular problem, right? Because I don't know which project you are talking about. I have not worked with that project. But the project maintainers, the people in the mailing list, the people in the group chat, they would be able to help you, because I don't even know what project you're talking about, right? So
Yes,
that is
yes.
the good practice, that please ask your questions in the mailing list, because asking good questions will also be good for you only, because they'll be like, oh, this person is very active in the community. They are showing motivation to learn. So yeah, let's take another questions now.
Thank you,
And
thank you,
please,
thank
one
you.
question per person, please, because we have a lot.
Yes. So guys, on this live question part, let's keep it on one question per person, because we have to be mindful of everyone else who wants to ask question, and mindful of our times. People in India are doing this very late, so let's also be mindful about Kunal's sleeping schedule a little bit, maybe. Okay. So let's go forward. Thank you, Paras, for the amazing questions. Next,
Good
we have
questions.
Avinash. Avinash, it's your turn. I'll give you permission to unmute yourself right now. So please ask one question from Kunal.
Hello,
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
am I audible?
Go ahead.
I want to ask that when you are starting to contribute in open source, how to stay patient and motivated. Like we want to get
Yeah.
things started pretty fast, but it takes some
That
time.
will not happen. No. The fast thing will not happen. You would have to have some patience. So the thing is that if you're contributing to a large scale project, then it's not going to happen overnight. If you don't even know about all the things being used in the project, it will take time to learn and contribute. You'll start from the beginner friendly issues, and then you'll contribute to like bigger issues. So you would have to be patient. That is the important question. So it's not about like how to stay patient or not. You would have to be like patient. It's like every person learns on their own learning rate, right? Some people learn fast, some people learn like relatively slow, some people learn moderately. So it's totally fine. Learn at your own pace. It's not a give or take relationship. It's like you can learn on your own speed and pace. And yeah, but if you put in the efforts, you will see the outcomes. Don't worry about that.
All righty. That was a nice flow on that question. Let's keep it that way. So that was Mahendra who asked the question, right?
Yeah.
All right. I'll lower your hand now. Thank you so much. Next, we'll have Rohit. Rohit, I'll ask you to unmute and shoot your question.
Yeah, hi everyone. I want to ask that if I started contributing through Java in one project, so what should I do? I mean I have to go for continuing deep in Java, or I have to switch language for C++ or any other. What should I do?
That totally depends on like the project you're contributing to. So in case you're interested in, because that happened with me as well. I started with Java, and then I was interested in contributing to projects like related to JavaScript and Golang and like TypeScript and stuff. So then I learned about those technologies. So if you're interested in contributing to projects related to this, then you can definitely do that. If there's like any other opportunity for you to learn about these technologies, like let's say you did an internship somewhere which asked you to learn about Golang, and now you really love Golang, and now you can be like, okay, I'm pretty good in Golang and I could now contribute to Golang projects. So totally depends on project, and it's totally up to you. Java has some amazing open source projects to contribute to. So it's not like mandatory to switch, but it's all depends on your situation. And your like your own views, like, okay, I have been contributing to Java for a while now. Now I want to get some contributions in like some other language, just get new skills, new experiences, which is great. So totally, I would recommend, if you want, you can definitely switch and get some more experience if you feel like you already have enough experience with Java.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
what I
Thank
did.
you. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you. Next one, we will have Arushi. So Arushi, I'll ask you to unmute yourself so you can shoot your question now.
Hi everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so my question is actually like for now, I am also getting started with open source. I'm actually working at DevOps right now. So just now my training is going on and I'm just learning technology. So for now, for 6 months that they have directed me to learn new technologies, like I'm learning Docker, Kubernetes and things like that, but I'm not actually aware about the projects that they're going to give me. So that's why I just wanted to start it with open source. So that is why I just want to get some projects like that. So how to get started with that? Can you suggest me anything about it?
Yeah, for Docker creates related projects or DevOps project, check out CNCF projects. They're pretty good. What I would recommend you now is like, first of all, like use the particular tech. Kubernetes itself is a very vast domain. So it's going to take you some time to, actually go through the Kubernetes concepts and everything as well. I would recommend that when learning DevOps, it's very important to get hands-on experience. So install Minikube and stuff and try to like make all these objects on your local system. And the Kubernetes tutorial, like the official website, is pretty good. There's some nice courses on Udemy as well to learn about the architecture and stuff. There's some nice YouTube resources as well. If you just Google Kubernetes courses on YouTube, you'll find many. Katakota.com is a very great website in order to get hands-on experience with DevOps related stuff. So for DevOps, I would highly recommend, like, even if you watch so many tutorials, getting hands-on experience is the most important part. So that is what I would recommend you to do first. And then you can just also find any project you like. It can either be related to monitoring or like actually like scheduling or something, or even the main Kubernetes repository in case you're interested, because it's very beginner friendly as well. So you can contribute to that as well. They have their shadow release program, and there's also the LFX mentorship program, which is also open to working professionals that you can apply to. And it is specifically designed for beginners to get started in open source. So please make sure you check that out.
Sure. Thank you.
LFX, I'll write in the chat.
Sure.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that question. I hope the answer was helpful, and I'm sure it was. So next in line, we have Akil. Akil, I'll unmute you now so you can shoot your question to Kunal. So go for it.
Hey everyone, I'm Axel, and I want to contribute in Python. So you said in the beginning that you need a tech stack to contribute, right? So what tech stack would you recommend?
You can learn Django. Django has very nice projects. I know someone who contributed to OpenWisp, a very nice project. Other than that, you can learn about like networking and stuff. You can, if you're into machine learning, you'll find plenty of Python projects over there as well. Just type Python on the Google Summer Code website, and it will list you all the organizations that use Python, and then you can decide from there.
Do you have anything to add on that, Akil?
No, thank you.
All right, thank you for the question.
Yeah.
Next in line, we got Gagan. I'll ask you to unmute right now so you can shoot your question to Kunal.
Hello everyone, I'm Gagan. So keeping it simple and short, like I'm a student, like I'm working on CP right now, and I'm into open source. And how would you suggest us to manage the academics as well as CP and go into open source? As you must know, like CP, beginner CP takes a lot of stuff, and open source does take a lot of time. And maintaining academics with it, like you must have known all this stuff. And I guess you have made a video on Code for Cause, even like stop complaining about it. But
that should have answered the question, right? If you watch the video, I made an exact video on this same topic only. Is it fine if I share here?
Yeah.
No, I'm asking.
Yeah,
Axel.
sure.
Okay. This is exactly the same video I made, how to balance college plus CP plus development and open source. Please check it out.
My question was like, do we need to handle CP as well? Like once we're getting into open source and just practice the problem solving skills.
No,
it's not mandatory to do CP, right?
CP is not mandatory. No, it's not mandatory. No.
Thank you.
I think also in our Git main thread, Kunal, all the links you wanna, I think you should be able to edit, but yeah, we can make it in the top one.
Yeah, so Kunal has a lot of great content, which can also answer many of your questions. So make sure to follow him on YouTube, Code for Cause, and also on every other platform he has. And thank you, Gagan, for the question. Next one in line is Shivam. Shivam, I'll unmute you right now so you can shoot your question to Kunal.
Hello, my name is Shivam Tyagi. So I have a basic knowledge of MERN stack, and that didn't actually land me anywhere. So that's kind of I have a feeling of overwhelming feeling that I am not exactly cut out for such kind of stuff. And I have that beginner block that is kind of tough to overcome. So what should I do about this?
You are very lucky because MERN has so many projects. Like the projects, number of open source projects in that use React itself. Even in Cloud Native Computing Foundation, even if you don't know about the deep DevOps stuff, you can contribute to their front end using React. So the problem here is not about your choice of skills or anything like that. No, you can definitely, there are ample amount of projects for you to get started with. Just I did show you, right, how to start, how to pick a project, how to find projects. I showed that in detail, right? So just do that, pick an organization, just actually apply the skills that you have. That is the reason you're having this feeling. You're just learning and you're not applying that anywhere. So please apply that somewhere, contribute to open source projects related to like MERN stack. You will find so many projects, even bigger projects. And once you start doing that, give it time. It's not going to happen overnight. Give it 6 months or something. And then after that, see, the thing is, you will hit a point in your particular career in open source that particular time you will be like, okay, now I'm getting opportunities. Now I have some ample amount of contributions. Now I'm getting like some nice skills and some nice contributions out. So that will happen after a few months. For those initial 6 months, 7 months, it will just be like, okay, I'm not getting any outcome. I'm not getting anything. No, I'm just contributing, learning, and that's it. Then one day will come. You will have some nice PR out and stuff. You will then have like your nice open source profile, and then everything will go as it is. We'll meet a lot of nice people. You will get opportunities, internships. I know many people in the Code for Cause community as well. They spent like entire 1 year just doing this thing that I told them, and now it's like stable for them. It's like they're contributing, learning, contributing. They already have a nice profile now, getting opportunities, internships via open source, remote work, and all these other things. So the initial few months are very, I know, overwhelming because you will not be getting any visible result. But please keep working hard.
Okay. Thanks. That really means a lot. Thanks, Kunal.
Perfect. Thank you for the question, Shivam. And this is probably the only question that I could have answered, is that we need to be patient whenever we want to master something. It usually takes 10,000 hours to learn something perfectly. So it's the same in this case. Next, we'll have a question from Shraddha. So Shraddha, I'll unmute you and you can shoot your question to Kunal right now.
Hey, hello everyone. I just wanted to ask one thing. Like when I'm working on some project and I'm forking it or I'm running it on my system, sometimes some dependencies don't work out on my system. So do we have some like virtual things like Google Colab or something so that we can deploy it online, like over
Use Docker.
some browser?
Use Docker.
Yeah, I started that, but I actually don't understand it exactly.
Then learn about it, study, read the documentation, watch some tutorials, and
yeah,
you'll
the
understand.
documentation are quite
Yeah.
overwhelming,
I know.
and
Then
it's quite
I know.
difficult to understand.
Katacoda.com is good. You can also
Okay.
watch some nice Udemy courses or like watch on YouTube. And then you can ask the project maintainers or everyone in the mailing list or group channel, like, hey, how do I get started with like Docker for this project? Docker will save you a
Okay.
lot of amount of time for setting up big projects. I totally understand it will take you, it takes me like weeks and weeks, but Docker will be like in a few, few minutes or like a few hours or something, like, just if you're first starting out, for example, I think in a few 10
Yeah.
minutes, 20 hours, half an hour or something, your project will be set up and everything will be working fine. Use Docker. Docker is very powerful.
Yeah, and also like how should I get mentors? Like for example, the code base are really huge and overwhelming. So I just wanted to know that how do I get mentors?
You don't have to understand the entire project, and no one is going to teach you each and every single line of
Yeah,
code and
yeah, I
going to tell you
understand
like
that.
they will not do that, and nor you will find any code repository or any documentation which actually says how do we actually contribute or anything like that. You might find comments
yeah.
in some files, but you will not find like a complete detailed guide on how to start with a project as a contributor. No, that will not happen because no one has that much amount of time to actually write that sort of documentation. So the only way is to actually look at good first issues, learn while you're solving good first issues, and ask a lot of questions, attend meetings, watch the talks for that particular project. Give it time. It will take 3 months, 4 months, 6 months. But only way to get started is like studying. If you don't know about a particular tech, you have to study, you have to ask questions. That's the only way to get started. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
All right,
No
and
worries.
thank you for the question. So we have 6 raised hand live questions left. We're not taking any more, so please don't raise your hand anymore. Let's make it less than a minute per question and answer now, because we want to be respectful of everyone who posted their questions to GitHub as well. So Namanpreet, I'm going to ask you to unmute and please shoot your question to Kunal right now.
Hey everyone. I wanted to ask that do we have to ask organizations to assign the issues to us, and for how much time do they remain assigned?
That totally depends on like how urgent the issue is. Sometimes they get assigned and stay assigned for like months and years. So it totally depends on how urgent the issue is. If it's not urgent, it will probably be assigned for months and years. to you. I know that happens because in organizations that have like 1000 issues open, right? It will be assigned until unless someone else comes and asks like, hey, if you find yourself in a place where an issue was assigned to a particular person months and months ago, you can just tag them and ask like, hey, are you still working on this? Do you need some help? And can I start with it? And then they'll reply. And if they say like, yeah, go ahead, then you can go ahead. So it's not like there's like a time constraint. Like I mentioned, it's not a give or take relationship. You're working on your own hours. You're working on your own time. No one is going to like force you or anything. So totally up to you. Total time management is in your hands.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you for the question and being respectful of everyone's time. That was a great question. Next in line, we have 19, Abhishek. So I'll unmute you right now. So please shoot your question to Kunal. Go for it.
Hello, Kunal. I just want to ask, keeping in mind latest trend in open source contribution. I mean, as a beginner, what would you suggest? Which language should I learn, or which skill should I master so that we have a good project to contribute in?
That is totally dependent on the interest that you have. It's not like machine learning projects are better than DevOps project or mobile projects are better than web development projects. No, everyone has its own importance in every field, right? So it totally depends on what your interests are. I would recommend pie-shaped learning. Know everything about something about everything. So try to explore various fields, see where your interests lie. So like web development, mobile development, DevOps, Kubernetes, machine learning, blockchain, all of these domains have their own open source projects, and good open source projects. When you find what tech you're interested in, then you can contribute to the open source projects in that particular tech. But it's not like machine learning projects are better than DevOps projects or mobile projects. No, it's like everyone has their own benefit, right? It's separate use cases.
Perfect. Thank you for that question. I hope the answer was helpful. We'll have to move on. So next in line, we have Rahul. Rahul, I'll unmute you right now. So shoot your question to Kunal. Go for it.
Hello everyone, I'm Rahul. So my doubt is I had started contributing to Textile and I'm familiar with now GSOC first issues. So my doubt is it okay to do 5 or 10 more questions of GSOC first issue, or should I directly jump to GSOC second issue, because I'm having so much of doubt in GSOC second issue, but I'm quite familiar with now first issues. So should I continue
Go ahead.
doing first issue?
Go ahead. It's not about the amount of contributions, it's about the value of contributions, right? So it's not like, hey, I have made 100 grammatical changes in this readme file. So that is probably not it's still valid contribution, but not enough for GSOC, right? So I would recommend don't run behind the number of issues. In Google Summer of Code specifically, the quality of issues matters. So yeah, jump on the nice issues now if you're already familiar with the project.
Okay, thank you.
Great question. Thank you for that. Next, we'll have in line Raj. So I'll unmute you, Raj, and please shoot your question for Kunal right now.
Hello,
Raj.
am I audible?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, Kunal, I have one question that I have one Android project I have made for my college final year. So I want to make it open source. So can you guide me that how to make it open source and how to get contributors for that?
Yeah, so if you want to get contributors to your project, make sure it has a nice README, contributor guidelines, and also like guidelines on how to use the project, what the project is about, and all these things. Documentation is key if you want to get people involved in your project. Second thing, no one is going to randomly start contributing to your project, right? So share about it on socials, share about it on like other platforms, share about it in student community. So if it's a student project, you can get your juniors interested. So even though they won't be learning like hi-fi, technical stuff more in detail, like that you will find it such large scale projects, one thing they can surely get out of it is how to use Git and GitHub. One more thing I would recommend, try to use open source best practices in your projects, like set up a CI/CD pipeline, for example, set up test cases, try to mimic whatever the big projects are doing, and have a good nice active community over there. Hold office hours for your projects if people are interested, but most definitely like share about it in communities and your socials. That is one way to get more people involved.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for that question. I hope that answer was helpful. I'm sure it was. Next in line, we have 2 more live questions left for Kunal. So next in line, we've got Manoj. Manoj, I'll unmute you right now. So please shoot your question for Kunal. Go for it.
Hey Kunal, me as a third year student, should I start now with the open source, or should I learn like should I have to what do you say? Should I have to come up with my internships and all?
Yeah, so I know you're talking about like internships and stuff, right? And you're asking
Yeah.
if it's too late or not in third year. It's not too late. I know many people who started in third year. I know Shive, who is here as well. Shive, I'll just unmute you. You do you want to answer that? Is third year too late to start with open source? Can't hear you.
I think, yeah, even if you are like 50 years old, you can still get started open source, because learning is the key, right? You're never too old to learn. So like, even if you are in your third year, in your fourth year, you can get started. And I started out in my close to my end of my after my fourth semester, so when I was in my third year. But even with that, like, if you have the passion, you can very quickly learn, right? So you just need to get the fundamentals and the basics right. And of course, like, open source is development, right? So you need to learn the basics of programming, but of course, at the same time, you also need to be very communicative. And if you are doing that, then you can rise very fast. So even if it's not like related to like a developer specific role, you can still, you know, like lead teams, like as Kunal was saying, that attend these developer meetings. If you're really into community oriented work, you can actually take up and you know, lead these working groups and these meetups as well. And even that is how you can grow your career in open source. So a lot of different community management roles in open source, or developer advocacy roles, even for junior developers, are opening up right now. And it's like becoming a very good space, even if you are not, like, let's say, only developer. So definitely it's never too late to get started.
Thank you, Shiva.
Thank you, Shiva, for jumping in as well. And thank you for the answer, Kunal, and the question, Manoj. So we have our last question right now in line. So Anadi, I'll unmute you so you can shoot your question to Kunal, and please go for it right now.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Yes.
Yes. So my question was for like document contributions. For example, if I'm going through a README file, and I like yes, I know that it is a valid contribution to make a typo or something like that, correct? But like, is it a good practice to like while going through the README or something like that to correct it?
If you find an issue like that, then definitely it's fine to correct it. No problem in that. But if you're looking for like enhancing your coding skills and stuff, definitely like see, documentation also, like writing the entirely like new documentation, support for new features, you know, writing blog posts, that is different. And like solving grammatical mistakes is different. Obviously the first one has more value, you know, because more efforts are being put in that. So it's like, if you all you do is solve grammatical mistakes, then I don't see like much of you know, it's not like, you know, as good as compared to like, yeah, you get my point, right?
No, sorry to cut you off, but I was saying that I'm going through a repo, I'm understanding about it, and for example, in between that I like get an error. So is it good to correct it?
That's fine. If it's if it's a valid error, then just open a PR for that. It's totally fine.
Yes, that is what I was. Thank you, Kunal.
Alrighty, perfect. And now we see our last question here from Shive. So Shive, shoot your question. You're the last live question we're gonna take, so make it worth it, and you can ask right now.
All right. Yeah, Kunal. So, I mean, this question is specifically, you know, based on your most recent experience, and that is like based on your experience as, so you got like a developer advocacy intern at Sivo Cloud. So, what have you enjoyed more? Like core software development roles that you have had, like in open source, or would you also like to rate how like your experience in developer advocacy so far? Although it's like very early.
Is fun. Yeah. It's very fun. But the culture over there is very open. So they're like, if you, the thing is, I haven't given up software development and stuff over there. Also, currently my goal is to like learn, get my CKADs and stuff, and I'm working on I'm working on like with the SRE teams. Like Alex is there. He has so much experience. He was the VP at JV Morgan, and the level of the DevOps stuff that I'm learning and all these other things. So my main role is like learning more about project and like working with initiatives and stuff, and just learning about SRE in general and all these other things. I am planning on like doing code contributions over there as well. But to answer your question, I am having fun with developer advocacy, and I do see that as a viable option in my future.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
All right. So everyone heard that. And now we're going to move to GitHub. So give me a second and I'll open GitHub on my screen and we'll start going through the questions there. Okay. So as we can see, we have quite a bit of questions here. So let's start from the top. So first question is that I did GSOC first issues of check style, and I'm now familiar with GSOC first issues. So
This is already answered. This is already answered. Let me share the screen. Like then I can skip the questions that are already answered.
Yes, go for it. That's a good idea.
All right. So let's do it pretty like quickly because to keep for everyone's time. This is answered. This is answered. I often find people getting the code base up and running before I solve an issue, especially Java. Yeah. Look at the documentation. Look at the README file. Send in the specific issues in the code mailing, like the project's public channel. They will be able to help you. For Android, just again, like just go to summer of code with google.com. Organizations. Android. This is an organization, or you can type Kotlin or something. You want Kotlin. So many organizations using Kotlin, right? So pretty simple. I'm a freshman from India. How to figure out which okay, you're a freshman, then try out various fields, then see which field you are interested in, the pie-shaped learning sort of thing. I'm not saying deep dive into everything because that is not really efficient, but just to get an idea of what everything has to offer. And then you'll figure out where your interest lies. So for example, I tried mobile development and then I realized I don't like mobile development. So then I did not do it, So then you will figure out what your interest is. Yeah. So in bigger projects, they have like test cases written, So if you go to any PR or anything like that, so any PR you go to, these are all the checks running, So this check is basically saying that when the code is being merged, then it will not break the existing changes. You can find the test cases in like test folders and stuff of the repo. It's very good to understand the project. How to join the chat. This is basically on their website or on the README. How much level of GSOC? 1 second. Depends on project to project. Quality matters more than quantity. And in beginner's term, just more than contribution matters your passion of learning and the passion for contributions. So when I started contributing, my contribution, like I screen shared and showed you very basic contributions they were, but still I got selected in Google Summer of Code. So they want to see the passion. They want to see that these people who are contributing to the project, they're actually there for the project and they want to learn and they want to stay with the organization after the GSOC period is over. But definitely don't worry about GSOC. Focus on your contributions, focus on learning, and you will be good. How to commit ourselves for opportunities. Yeah, this has been a tough time for everyone. I totally understand. I would recommend like focus on your health and mental health first, and all these things can come later on, but totally understandable. Yeah. Can we start contributing today or wait? No. Start contributing early. Don't wait for GSOC to start. Start contributing as soon as you can, and don't worry about whether you will get selected on GSOC or not. Don't just wait for GSOC. Start contributing right now. If you are having a 9-to-5 job, then how much time would going to deep in open source? So if you're having a 9-to-5 job already, I'm not sure if you want to do open source, because it's important not to get burned out, right? So if your company is not letting you, giving you enough time, then if you do get free time, if you enjoy it, then definitely you can, but make sure you don't get burnt out. In bits and pieces, how to get the required code bases are available in bits and how to get I'm not sure what you mean by this. Basically, for every issue, there's like a file linked or something, or a function linked or something. If not, you can ask again the person who has opened the issue. Can we start contributing now? I don't know. Yes, you can. Any tips for writing proposal? Mention about what you're going to be doing in the project. Mention about your previous experiences with the project. Don't write things like I'm very motivating and I'm motivated and I, just write facts and write about your experiences with the project and your previous experiences in like open source and with that particular tech. That will really help you, which is why I recommend start early. Can you elaborate on journey on the go? Like what I'll do? This is a very long question. You can find my journey on LinkedIn. I put everything over there. And it recently got, thanks a lot for the shout out for that. What is better do in open source? Go deep. An example of switch to other languages. I would recommend like just try out different things. Quality matters more than quantity. So it's not like you did basic contributions in many languages, and in one hand you are doing in just 1 or 2 languages in very big projects, some major contributions. I would recommend that is a very good thing as compared to small contributions in many languages. Again, quality matters more than quantity. How much time you spend learning a new tech, it totally depends on person to person. Learn on the go. It's not like a particular time frame is required. Most of the time you don't even have to know the entire particular language or tech stack to contribute. The setting facing issue, yes, is something I don't message the developers. No, message on the mailing list on the public channel. Don't DM anyone. That's not looked as good and you will not get answers. How to get started learning a new skill? There are so many resources for React. So don't worry about that. People ask me, hey, what is the best resource for React? Best is a relative term. Just pick up any resource that has good comments on YouTube and get started with it. Okay, thanks a lot for the shout out. Really appreciate it. This is also answered. ML2. So should I find both ML or change the org? I'm learning from the quality of orgs more than. Yeah, quality matters more. So 1 or 2 orgs is fine. You can also look into TensorFlow.js, which uses both web development and machine learning. Essential. This is again answered question. So I'm going to be right away. Yeah, you can start right now. I answered this already. Simple comments are closed. Yeah, if it's already closed or if it's someone else is already working on it, just go to the mailing list and public channel or whatever and ask them, hey, do you have any issues for me? I already covered this in like the session, so you can watch the recording later on. So that I could, this is not a question. This is also answered. This is also, this is a good question. I believe like to understand issues, and you will understand issues if you understand the project basically. So 40% of the tech stack thing was for understanding and getting started with the project. So everything else you have to learn on the go, and then you will understand the projects once you understand the project. Understand the issues once you understand the project. Thanks a lot for the shout out. This is also answered. Ask help on the public channel. How much contribution or experiences on a multinational company? This is a, it's like again, quality and matters more than quantity. For high-paying jobs with startups, if you do good work in particular startups, then their employees, good work in like some open source contribution. So they might be able to like refer you for some startups or in their own work or something like that. So again, your quality matters more, and that is why I recommend contribute to nice open source, like large scale open source projects. With the question to people around the globe, and I will get creating repos. No. This is like if you're creating your own repo and no one else is contributing to it, it's not really open source as such. It's like if you contribute to a large scale project, that is the thing that will be noticed. You are a sophomore, so you have a lot of time. As a beginner, it's very hard to know amount of level. No, this is already answered. Already answered. My question is can we still contribute to organization? Yes, exactly. You can, and this is recommended as well. If you don't get selected, please keep contributing. I learned how to make this is already answered. First, I have to ask project manager me, or can I start working on it directly? That's a good question. You can send it on the tag it on the issue like, hey, I'm working on this issue. Do you have any pointers for me or anything like that? If it's not already taken, then definitely go ahead with it. But you can also ask on the issue if you're a beginner that, hey, I would like to work on this issue. Can you please assign me? So that is totally fine. Solve an issue. This is totally dependent on the person. It's not a give or take relationship. No one is going to force you to do it. Take your own time and it totally depends on you. But if it's urgent and you are not able to solve it, then it's definitely like not recommended to get assigned, if you know that you won't be able to solve it in time, if it's urgent or like Most of the time, if they're like, we're trying to get this feature in the new release or something, and you know you will not be able to provide it at that time, then you can ask someone else. Some tips to already answered. Could you suggest some beginner Python? Yeah, just Google Python on the Google Summer Code website or the GitHub website, and you will find it. I feel like learning about open source for so many days is nothing. You have to give months and months if for understanding big projects. So give it time, stay motivated, and your time will come. Don't worry. My favorite orgs for beginners. You should not be asking this question, because large scale open source projects also have beginner friendly issues. So don't look for good orgs for beginners, because open source is much more than coding. So if you contribute to open source, large scale open source projects, you will get definitely a lot of things out of that. So that is why I don't recommend, just going for good organizations that are not really being, used by anyone or something like that. No, just directly jump onto the big projects. All right, that was everyone.
Thank you, Kunal. That was amazing job going over everyone's question. Thank you, everyone asking for those questions. And Kunal, what a contribution for this community you did. To wrap up this session, I'll share my slides for the last time. Here we go. And basically, it's going to only go over some of Kunal's information. Shouldn't take too long. So bear with me. There we go. So here we have Kunal's information, as we have covered a few times already. So remember to research, be short and clear, and remind. And we have a question and answer over Slack. So please, if you have anything missing after this webinar or watching the recording again, shoot questions in the question and answer channel, and we do our best to answer most of your questions, guys. So that is that about Kunal. And join us. We're looking for community managers, tech writers, in and out ambassadors, marketing creators and editors, course creators, and project creators. So join us in Slack, and also check out MetaBob, our new partner for Chapter 4, especially if you're a Python junior level developer or Python student. Make sure to go for MetaBob. It helps you save time, at least half of the time of your debugging.
Just a quick note here, MetaBob is currently raising a seed round, so we're gonna go for crazy for the hiring as well. So it's a good start to sort of go, show your contribution and get some recognition. That way we can also reach out to you once we finalize the round. And
yeah, and also about MetaBob's personnel right now, we do have an Indian developer already on board doing well, so I don't know why we wouldn't have any more. So follow MetaBob on all social medias, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you're most active, and keep updated with our job postings in the future when we expand and grow further what we are now. Lastly, thank you so much for coming here. This was such a great webinar. We made history today. Kunal, thank you so much for bringing your amazing community and answering all the questions and taking the time to do your presentation today. Man, I appreciate it so much. I enjoyed being here with all of you, almost 300 people, and overwhelming amount of interest, but we are so grateful for you guys to join, and we look forward to seeing you guys in our future webinars as well. So tomorrow, join us the same time, 10 a.m. PST, and what is it IST, Kunal?
Let me just see.
It's same time. What happens?
It's same time as
9:30 p.m. IST, I guess.
Yeah. It's 10:30 p.m. IST.
10:30? Okay.
10:30 p.m. IST tomorrow. If you are interested in artificial intelligence, this is the guy you want to listen to. Ben is definitely one of the most experienced guys in that space that I know. He has worked in companies like Oracle, Panasonic, Toyota. He was a part of the Oracle voice team. So he was part of the team that made speech processing from a curiosity to a truly useful technology. And thanks for that team, we can now see voice commands in our cars, for example. And the link has been provided in the chat, but I'll post it to our community Slack channel again. And that really wraps up the session. Sako, Kunal, Rasim, Nurlana, do you guys have anything to add?
I would like just to say thank you so much, Kunal. It was amazing. In past 2 years of GoUp, that was the most in scale Zoom meeting, and hopefully with technical things going on, we didn't mess up too much, and hope everybody enjoyed, and you as well. Just Kunal, you are honored co-op leader, community leader. We really love the culture, the attitude you had. It's not about the skills. That's we think you can learn over time, but the way, the attitude, I think that's a key for us. The culture, you have a perfect fit for us culturally, and we would love to talk to you more about it and more expect more collaboration, folks, from us. And again, thank you so much, Axel. It's your first time. I know that as well, the webinar running experience, you did amazing. And Rasim, thank you so much for helping. I know that behind the curtain, Rasim, Nurlana were helping, we're working closely with Axel and making sure that we share as much our experiences so far we had with Axel. And I think putting all our strengths together, we made it, guys. Thank you so much again. I really loved it. It's a really special day for us. And yeah, looking for e-meet for the folks I haven't met.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
Go
no,
ahead.
I was just saying thanks for having me, and do join the Slack community of Go Up, and great work they are doing, and so many nice sessions coming up. But yeah, just contribute to open source, and don't forget to ask questions, and showcase the good work you're doing. And yeah, just if you have any further questions, send us on Slack, and we'll be happy to answer. Yep. And this will also be recorded, so you can watch it later on.
For sure, and give us feedback through Twitter. Make sure we'll make Twitter go crazy. We want to grow there. We want to, like you guys, we want to really join the open source community in Twitter with Go Up. So make sure to tag Go Up, Kunal, Metabob, our new partner. And yeah, just give us feedback. We appreciate feedback. We want to make this experience of all of these webinars the best we can for you, because we do this for you to help you learn, grow, contribute, and go up with us. Rasim, do you have anything to add, man?
I also want to say thanks for all of guys for joining to us. Thanks, Axel. Thanks, Sako. Welcome, Kunal, to our leadership. I hope, I'm sure that we will do a lot of things in our community. Lovely session. Thank you for all. Thank you. See you again
tomorrow. Okay, I guess we can stop recording.
Yeah, thank you, guys. This wraps up the webinar. I was actually muted from my computer and for a second. Still struggling with Zoom sometimes, even though I have spent probably the last year sitting on Zoom pretty much every day, 8 hours, 9 hours. So this wraps up the webinar. We hope to see you tomorrow in Benjamin Reeves' event and all our Chapter 4 events and future events as well. Thank you, Kunal, one more time. It was so great to connect with you, talk to you, and learn from you. As a least technical person in this Zoom room, I really appreciated the language you used. I think it was super easy to interpret, even for me, who doesn't even know most of the terms that usually are used in this space. But I'm excited for the future with you, and once again, so grateful for everyone being here, and especially Kunal taking the time to talk to our community. Thank you so much.
Okay.